Wassail. So here we are. Higher dimensional beings reading 3 Syrians. So this is Lightworkers. The Syrians are working with Lightworkers, but we'll get to that in a bit as the energy flows forward. I might have to just flick the switch on this light just to give a bit more energy to the air, although the sun's just come out over there. So this is slightly more complicated in that this reading talks about how all of the the upper world, it's the frequency that's talking about how all of these higher dimensional beings are working hand in hand with each other, because do you know what? Rather weirdly, that's what higher dimensional beings do. They work together. They understand the pathways forwards, and they operate as a community, which is something we're not very good at doing down here, because we have all these false borders and we have nationalist attitudes, and we give ourselves characteristics as nations, and actually they're just excuses. They're who do we think we are? They're not who are we really. Who are we really? We're humankind. Humankind. Kindness towards each other. Stop seeing each other as different. See each other as the same. Anyway, we begin with the seer and the beauty way. And this is 454, which is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And 13 is the frequency that we're moving to, free of those borders, free of those falsehoods, standing in our authenticity. So the Syrians are working with seers, light workers, people that are able to see, and there's the strongest energy that's coming from this card right now is the Jaguar, looking at karma, but this is merging with the seer's ability. So it's the ability to look inside other people and work on their emotions, because there's a section coming in a moment where the Palladians are here talking about DNA, and that's linking into the healing of the planet, the changing of the water frequency, how there are a series of healing miracles coming next year. And that's the energy of the beauty way, the transformation of the earth, opening its new energetic frequency and bringing transformative energy. Now, it heals the molecules, it heals the body, but then the Palladians are working with our consciousness to connect a new consciousness in to our new DNA. But the Syrians are working with the light workers, and these are light workers who, I'm going to say it again and again and again, you're not a light worker unless you face your shadows. We have to face the shadows to be able to see the shadows in others, to look through people and see the Jaguar here, the karma that is just part of the gift of the rattle, the ability to shake and to look at. There's a skull of a ram, and it's to look at that sort of, I want to say, dead energy now of raw masculinity that has been here forever, and we're helping people to grow, to come into corn, to come into abundance, to find completions and find new beginnings. And this card always has for me this frequency where the corn look like a whole series of grasshoppers, and grasshopper frequency is about having the faith to leap in evolution, but you have to believe in it. So you can't, it's like seer magic. I'm saying to you that this is a possible energy frequency that I'm being told is coming towards us, but many people would say, oh, I'd love to believe that. Believe it and you get it. If you doubt it, you don't get it. It's a really simple choice. So the seer and the beauty way, can we please have some clarification on the seer and the beauty way? There we go. We're getting repeat energies because these frequencies are all working hand in hand as a higher dimensional community. We have the Hierophant and we have the Nine of Voices. So the Hierophantrix, which is what this card represents, is the balanced body. The light worker must be balanced. The light worker must vanquish their shadows. The light worker must look at their past and understand it and integrate it. And the memories of the traumas of it fall backwards. They become ever smaller and ever more insignificant. And so there's underneath her hood, she's wearing a pair of glasses, which is again the ability to help see, but it also represents and references the Page of Swords in this deck, who, as a card, the Page of Swords is becoming more and more a reference for me to pre-incarnation contracts, something you signed up to be, and many people signed up to be light workers. And the Nine of Voices is about astral realm work. So many light workers have spent their sleep time downloading information, assisting people in the astral plane, and working on healings, but now is the time to bring that work into the 3D reality, to reach out and to help those around us. And it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's like there are 9 divine threads to, I want to say, to the 9 realms that exist within Norse mythology behind the Yggdrasil tree, the 9 realms. And it's going to increase in terms of you will have a lot more, I want to say, slightly disturbed dreams in the coming weeks, because they need to wake you up to understand how you take your dreams and bring them into the 3D physical reality to assist others. So the corn and the abundance, please, all these little grasshoppers. I'm going to actually just rifle them again. So, there we go. Okay. The 9 of inspiration 99. This is the master number of the ninth dimension. It's a fragment away from a completion and a new beginning. This is echoing the beauty way, taking what was once dreams in the astral and allowing this new energy that the Orions are setting up within the earth to bring this new frequency up. And that's what we're kind of sensing here, this energy that comes up to greet the sacral, because then we have the card, the Six of Emotions, and this is the card about bringing people into their luminous warrior reflection and allowing what was once the damaged, sad inner child to grow up. But at the moment, if you look on her face, she's really still not sure. It's like, I want to say that the body is healing, and it seems to be healing in ways that seem to be taking place without our own knowledge almost. Because of this Orion frequency change of water and these miraculous healings, but the one thing that doesn't heal, even though your consciousness will lock into it and change the frequency of your DNA, the thing that doesn't change is your emotions. Your emotional pains have to be worked through. They have to be purged. And that's what the Lightworkers are here for. They're to work with us through, and they're saying not just energies. It's not just about, like when I do a sound healing, it's not just about singing the healing frequencies. That will heal the body and that will heal the consciousness. It will work on the divine blueprint. But the thing that has to be worked on is the emotional language that still clings within those distortions. And it can be that we communicate them with others, but it can also be that we act as light workers, as triggers to help people seek the solutions within themselves, because ultimately we can only shine a light. We can't fix in that way the emotional language of people. They have to fix their own. But the light workers shine the energy frequency to help others to hook their distortions onto a new blueprint. I kind of wanted to say then a pink print, because it's an emotion of the higher heart. So we have the Sweat Lodge. And the Sweat Lodge is releasing the emotional distortions. But again, this is the frequency of stillness. You go into a Sweat Lodge and the heat is intense as you face shadows that come up through the fire, and you sweat and you purge. But it's about being stationary in the heat, facing the fires that are, so sacred rage is part of this. The energy frequency of divine fury that we have, that we need to release. It's a really important energy, and it helps us to climb to a new frequency, a higher frequency. But it's also a very uncomfortable energy, because it's very easy for divine rage to tip over into raw masculine aggression. And that's something which light workers will help again to keep at bay. And then we have the mystical shaman. This is representing both the Syrians and the Lightworkers, because clearly the Syrians are working as the guides to the Lightworkers in this current energy. And I want to say, I just read a comment from Michael. Hello, Michael. Look, the breath, the last breath of another that you pushed out through your mouth twice, it's here depicted in this card. And many shamans do a thing of sucking in the poison and pushing the poison back out again. And that's very much what this Sweat Lodge is talking about, how we need to face our poisons, face our fears, work with the light workers to face our shadows and to help go inside ourselves to release them. And I want to say there's a sense of verbally expressing them to a light worker. They will suck them up and push them away, but they will teach you how to integrate them. So what do we have? Muse of Voices. That's exactly it. The death rattle of a whole series of not just life, but like a kind of, this is that pink energy and sacral energy, the seat of the soul. It's talking about how it goes back to this dreaming in the astral is silent healing. This is bringing healing into the 3D. Galdir magic, which is to speak an expression of something, brings it into the real world. And then that, as the Muse of Voices, the Zen of Voices, the sound allows the capture and release of trauma. Let's see if we have something else to go with that card. So Syrians, light workers, their journey. That's a bit of a clump. So Ace of Inspiration. That's the missing part of this. No longer bringing the energy into the dream world, but bringing the energy that's needed to heal another into the real world. Creating a window on the soul of another, light workers, so that you can work with them. And you're working to bring them to two of emotions, to bring them towards that frequency of the Hierophantrix, bringing their energies into balance in the emotional waters. And remember, I've said that the Orions are changing the frequency of all the Akashic waters so that we can better cope with the changes on the molecular atomic level that will bring about the physical healings, but not yet the emotional healings. Look, most physical illnesses are created by blockages of our wounded inner child, and this is what light workers are here to deal with. But you can't do your light worker work if you haven't healed yourself. All light workers, you have to put in the shadow work. You have to come to a space of pure self-love. Can't pick the card up. The expression of self-love holds open then the paradise ray polarity for you to bring in into the physical world what you were previously bringing into only the astral. So you're bringing in, sorry, I just need to keep the cards in the right places. You're creating the emotional space of non-judgment to bring people into their hierophantrix balance. But that's working through voicing, talking through these emotions. I'm going to have to take this off now. I was cold before I started. I had some lunch and a break, and now that I'm sitting in this Syrian energy, it's building up inside my body. So now we have the 4 of materials and the 10 of materials. So the 4 of materials is talking about how we do this work as light workers to bring comfort to the natural world, to bring us a balanced energy, to bring a healing space, to create a sacred space that is eventually their sacral, so that they can have time for self-reflection, and bringing that in so that people, individuals, as you work with them, can cherish themselves. They can learn to love themselves for all of their darknesses. Look, she has the darkness still attached below her, but she's resonating now, and it can be a man, but this person is resonating now with this sense of the pink frequency of the emotional blueprint, which we're calling the pink print. We've never called it that before. And that goes into the 10 of materials, planting the seeds to turn your whole frequency into this new Yggdrasil energy, around which others will see the shining light and be drawn in for their healings. So light workers, you've got to become this frequency that the Syrians are trying to guide you towards. Now, the next part of the reading is a reference back to the Palladians. The Palladians are working on the blueprint and connecting the consciousness. The Syrians are working on the emotional, not quite membrane, because that was the word in the last one. The emotional, I don't want distortions. I kind of want to say like a kind of sticky lichen that's just stuck. And that's about clearing those energies of 12 frequency. So we've got, I want to say 12-12 because time has previously been based on 12 hours. I'm not saying we're going to go to a 13-hour clock suddenly. It's talking about how the Palladians have an ability to warp time, to stretch or condense time, but to draw out time so that you can go close in to the details of something when you're working with someone. Because this global smoky mirror that's cleared then allows us to begin to change our frequency. And inside this card, not sure if you can see it, but there is a figure drowning in the old emotional ocean of 12 frequency, and this is the new 13 frequency that's emerging with this lightning card. There's a figure hidden in the background, and here there's a sword of truth that's stuck inside the person, and this is what the light workers are learning to withdraw and pull out of people so that they can move towards bringing playfulness to this luminous warrior, grown up inner adult rather than an inner child. And I'm trying not to call it an inner child because that's keeping us infantilized in 12 frequency. So can we please have a little bit of clarification on Coyote, Time Master, Smoky Mirror and Lightning? We have the Page of Materials, another repeat card, Five of Voices, Page of Inspiration, the Awakening, and the Queen of Inspiration. So this is talking about, I want to say that this is a card of mind merging, but this is about transference of emotions into the physical world. It's like this is the gift of the light worker, to bring people from their shadow to their light, to rewire the energies of 12 frequency. And that's bringing in, we've got this sense of a page. You're bringing the person that you're healing, you're mind merging with them. You're using this original seer to observe the inner beauty within someone for their transformation. You're working with them on the transformation, but it's only possible now because the Palladians are fixing the frequency of DNA within people, and then it's bringing the individuals into a new energy of inspiration, where their consciousness is now resonating at a much higher, brighter, more clarified frequency. But look, within their shadows, this is the shadow body being wired in to allow this wonderful, bright, iridescent, cleared, smoky mirror frequency to resonate. And it's, you know, I want to be drawn to that notion of the olive branch, the being given the gifts from Syrians to work through the light workers, the lightning, pulling out the sword, clarifying, changing, bringing new energy to people. And then we have the awakening and the inspiration. So as we move through, and that cheetah's here again, as we move through 2021, this is the year that the light workers will begin to understand how they can bring about the awakening in others, to bring them from that frequency of being newly inspired with new energy to being fully blossoming as a perfect part of humankind, as a grown up, as an emotionally stable, wonderful human. Now, the next part of the reading, we have the upper world and the rainbow. So, the upper world represents all the higher dimensional beings, bringing this new energy down to us from this new frequency of the 13 frequency sun, that much softer straw yellow energy that's coming with the sun, a kind of thicker atmosphere, and bringing people towards this. This is energy in alignment being brought down by the whole upper world working in conjunction. But again, it's coming through the light workers as gifts that are being given to us. And this whole year of 2020, this very difficult year that's been stressing people out, and people have had incredibly difficult times. People have lost loved ones. But this energy frequency, they're trying to say, is a gift from the upper world, and that all people who have passed over, and that's again that reference back to this sound final sound that emerges from people is part of a divine beauty to release their soul energy to become their fullness. Maybe once these people have passed, they're moving in to become people of Orion frequency or Palladian frequency or Syrian frequency or Lyran frequency, but they're not in any way traumatized by what has happened. It's us that are traumatized by it, and this energy moving forwards is to bring us into balance, to bring back the energy of joy. No, not even to bring back, to bring it, because we've not experienced full joy ever in the way in which it's coming, because it's a new joyous frequency. And then we have the serpent, and the serpent is many things. It's shedding of a skin, it's card 46, it's a completion and a new beginning, but it's also two snakes coming together. So that Palladian energy of working through your spine to your divine blueprint and connecting the earth and the consciousness together as a new form of Kundalini energy being expressed through the body. So when you look at these three cards, the upper world is bringing this energy of healing to complete our bodies from 12 frequency and bring them into the new 13 frequency. But the really fascinating part is that the Syrians are connecting this energy, this rainbow energy is being brought directly from source by the Syrians through Lightworkers. And this card a long time ago was this hole that we had in the sacral, but that hole, that sacral energy with the solar eclipse of the luminous warrior on the 14th is opening. It's becoming this energy that the Syrians are bringing in and passing through the frequency of Lightworkers. So let's ask for some clarification on those. That was not a proper dispersal. Oh, look at that lovely, beautiful lady. Okay. High Priestess frequency. So, I want to say that there's a new wisdom coming, because this card always reminds me of a female Odin. She only has one eye showing, because this is divine feminine consciousness, and there's something about her hood that becomes one big eye. It's that notion. I'm also getting an energy of a sea creature. Again, I'm picking up the energy of marine life at the moment, and they're really asking for a reading, but that's not the reading right now, but I did see them. So she has a whole series of runes around her head, but the main two are Rad and Vend, which is R and P, and they're about going on a journey towards abundance. And it's about the healing energy of touch, because touch has been forbidden. People are air elbowing each other, and this is about bringing just the other runes are kind of glowing in different ways. I'm being drawn to the spiritual inheritance of Della and Ing, which is a new birthing taking place. And then we have the Seven of Emotions, which is, I I kind of want to hold it like this so that you get a sense of what's going on in this card. The hand represents the energy, and this is the person who's being healed in this beautiful sense of calm as they look at the what would ordinarily feel like hugely suffocating or drowning busy energies, and just the light worker being able to help a person to select the next fish, the next trauma. Okay, that's what that reading's to do with. It's to do with the marine energies are talking about the fish being choices of old, ancient traumas from Neptune that are echoes through time from our ancestor energies that we're cleaning up, and that's what's helping us rewrite our divine blueprint and moving that through to our sacred pink print, which is not a good word for it, but it's what we'll stick with today until something better comes up. I'm also fascinated by the fact that there are 7 fish, but this one here is actually 2 fish coming into union. Divine masculinity, divine femininity coming together to bring people through healing into their hierophantrics. That domino effect, that covert 19. That's what that is. That's the tag frequency of spiritual epiphanies are coming upon us. And you have your spiritual epiphany, you pick yours, and the energy transfers and changes, and you reach a new understanding. And the final card here is the sun. And this is a mandala sun. And as I've said that, the sun is now getting brighter and brighter just down here by the window. So this is really being drawn to the figure seated at the bottom, who is in a state of zenness, because really we're talking about being filled with much more of the energy of source, because our DNA can take and hold this frequency, because we're no longer the damaged child. So the light workers are helping to fix and purify our emotions so that our new DNA can lock into source and take up more of the energy and flow with more of the energy. So the last 2 cards that came out in the reading are the Ancient Ones and the Drum, and this is 115. And the Ancient Ones immediately said, we are the Lyrans, we are the Vegans, and they're in a kind of higher dimension. They're working on they're closer to source. Look, there you go, that's what it is. Look, they've got let's do it that way around. They've got the ability to take the lid off and allow the source energy to flow from a closer source. And again, they all work together, but the Ancient Ones are the first beings, and the Lyrans seem to be the first beings that came about, and again I'm going to mention the word Aquafarians, but they're the ones providing they're holding the field of source and bringing it through their frequency to the Syrians, who are bringing that frequency down to the Lightworkers. It's a journey. So let's just... Can you tell us a little bit about the drum, the new rhythm, the new frequency, and the ancient ones who are part of the next reading? Can you give us some kind of clarification on them? No, we can't. Is there any clarification that you wish to give us? Is there any clarification you wish to give us? No, that's how they come. They're saying you'll get your clarification with the next reading. So I'm going to just see if we get a final card. It feels like you can't really find anywhere anything higher or more accurate than the cards that are already here, but let's just see. Is there one final message? Pom pom pom. It's to do with karma clearance. 28. Completion and a new beginning. So that's this jaguar that's just down here. Look, it's taking all of that huge sense of dark, overwhelming shadows and the Lightworkers bringing that frequency of your shadows into their understanding as they mind merge with you to help you understand how to release this karma. And so this huge weight of darkness working through a light worker brings us towards grown-up emotions and that integrated sense of what was karma once being so small and maintainable, really. So that's the message from the Syrians. So the next one will be the Lyrans and the Vegans, and I also have to do a fresh one, but I will do that one completely as we open the cards for Andromedans. And then we've got the Marine World to look at, and maybe the Arcturians. I don't know yet, but let's see what gives. There's a whole series of very important frequencies racing towards us, and it's now time for us to begin to understand. Look, Lightworkers, it's a really important moment. Really start to connect into all these energies, because there's a lot of work that begins next year in helping the collective. But you can't help the collective heal if you can't heal yourself. And you can only heal yourself if you face all of your own big karmic shadows, and they're echoes through DNA and time. So anyway, that's the reading. I'm gonna have a little rest now because I've done 3 very big readings. I'm not sure whether I'll do the next one today or not. Anyway, have a lovely time on Wassail.